Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's another beautiful day and happy new year because recording this video is the 31st day of December, and I wish you all a very prosperous new year, and I pray that all your heart desire for this new season be met in Jesus' name. Amen. So guys, thank you for joining my channel once again, and in today's video we'll be trying out the foundation that was given to me for a pair package from Anita Brows on Instagram. I already made a video of unboxing the foundation, and if you haven't seen the video, you can just go ahead to my channel and check out for the video unboxing. Okay, so here I'm applying a Becca color corrector to color correct the hyperpigmentation under our eyes, and it also serves as a concealer primer to retain concealer and avoid crease. So now this is the beautiful foundation we are talking about on this video. So this foundation is a must get. I've tried out this foundation. I'm not yet to cap about this foundation. Okay, the foundation is actually very nice, and they said a lot about this foundation on the package, that it is not a full coverage foundation, which is true, and you can apply twice to get the full coverage you want. So after I applied this shade, I noticed that this shade was a bit white on her skin, and I went ahead to mix with the Deep 15, which is a darker shade, and I picked my color palette to be able to add colors to the foundation and get an undertone. And now after I applied, I got our undertone correctly, and I'm applying with a brush first. So this foundation allows your skin to breathe. Like it's not a full coverage, it's a very lightweight foundation from what it is said, and I observed that it is true. So this is me telling my model to look sideways to see the difference of the foundation. So after I've mixed the foundation and applied all over our skin, and you can see it's now matching with our skin, then now I went in with the second coating because I'm a full coverage foundation person. I am not really a fan of sheer foundation, so any sheer foundation you see with me, I usually mix it with my thick foundations. So this foundation is just exactly the way Nars foundation is from my own observation. So if you've used Nars foundation before, you will understand what I'm talking about. So this foundation is just exactly the way Nars foundation is. Then I went ahead with this Soft Beauty sponge. Is a damp beauty blender from the Gutu, and I use that to just pat into our skin. But the brush I use, you don't really need a beauty blender, but because I'm a fan of beauty blending with beauty sponge, I just went ahead to use my beauty sponge. So to contour our face, to sculpt a face, I use the same foundation to achieve that, and I use the shade Deep 15 to sculpt her face. So this will just create a shadow around her face. Then I went in with the liquid blush, and I'm using the Nuban Beauty liquid blush in shade Apricot and Ruby. I mixed the both blush together, applied with the other side of my beauty sponge, and just a pat on top of our cheek. So this is my go-to liquid blush. So now I'll go ahead to just highlight her skin, and I'll be using two concealers. I used the e.l.f. concealer in shade medium beige and Nuban Beauty concealer in shade 043. So I used the Nuban first, the Nuban Beauty concealer, that's the 043 first, to highlight her face. So I just applied that at the T-zone of her face, which is under her eyes, the bridge of her nose, her chin, and I went ahead to brighten it up with the elf concealer, which I just placed at the inner corner of her eyes only. So I just used that to brighten up her under eyes a bit. Then I went ahead to spray a setting spray from the Morph, and after it has dried, I went ahead to powder her face. So what the setting spray basically does is to reduce excess oil that will come out of her skin maybe later on in the day after I'm done with the makeup and she's going about her daily activity. So to bronze her face, I used a powder from the Blood Cosmetics in shade Chestnut, and I applied that just the areas where I contoured, just to warm up her skin. Then to add colors to her face, I went in with the dry blush, and I used the CPD blush. I chose the orange shade, the pink shade in that blush. I just mixed them and apply. Now I am setting her face with a lighter shade of setting powder, and I'm using the setting powder from Nuban Beauty to set her face. And at the same time, I baked immediately. Okay, so I just used my beauty sponge to pat the powder into her skin, like to press it, and I also applied the setting powder to sculpt her face, to do a reverse setting from her cheek bone below the contour. Then now I'll go ahead to apply eyeshadow. For my eyeshadow, I wanted a burgundy kind of base, so I went in with a wine lip stain, and I used that as my eyeshadow base. So I applied the lip stain and used my brush to just blend the lip stain before it gets dry. So make sure you're fast with this. If not, you have a like your eyeshadow is going to break because it's already dried before you blend it. So I went into my eyeshadow palette and I chose a burgundy, like a wine shade of eyeshadow, and I'm using a blending brush, a soft blending brush, to just dry up the lip stain and also to blend upwards our brow bone area. So I blended round her crease, extending it to the outer part of her eyes, then the under her brow, and I took a darker shade of wine shade eyeshadow, and I just applied that at the outer part, like on top of her eyelid, blended up to her crease again, just to marry both shades together. So the first one I applied was lighter, then the second eyeshadow was darker. So I just placed that on top of her eyelid and blended towards her crease her crease area, because I'm going to apply pigment. And here comes the pigment palette that I used, the Luster palette. This is highly pigmented and I chose the red shade there. But before I apply the pigment, we're going to be using pigment glue, and I used the Silvermark pigment glue to apply on the eyelid. I applied it very little, so don't apply too much so that your pigment won't start breaking or your eyeshadow will start breaking. Then I applied very little and used another brush to just apply the pigment on top of it. So this is a pigment like a normal glitters, but the pigment part, the softer one that comes in a palette from Luster Cosmetics. So to contour the outer part of her eyes, I went in with this very dark brown shade to just smoke out the outer part of her eyes, to give that contour in that area. So I just applied it with a different brush entirely, and I just blended the pigment and the eyeshadow together so that to avoid ash lines in that area. Okay, so ensure that you are doing this very softly. So now I'll go ahead to moisturize her lip, and I'm using the Nivea lip balm to moisturize her lip, to prepare her lip for lip stain. So if you're wondering why your lip stain is breaking, it's because you're not moisturizing the lip enough. Then I went ahead to line her eyes, and I'm using the Carrot gel liner to line her eyes. So ensure that when you're lining the eyes, you hold down the eyes properly so that they don't tear up and they don't blink, or blink too much that they will stain your makeup. Okay, so hold it down properly and line very fast before they start tearing up. So for this particular baby girl sitting on my chair, she's my friend. In fact, my bestie. That's what she is. I actually begged her to do this shoot with me, and she came through for your baby girl. Okay, so now I'm just cleaning up her eyeshadow. No, I'm cleaning up her eyelashes with a mascara to take off any excess fallout of eyeshadow on her lashes before I go ahead to apply lashes. And I applied this lash from Chi Lashes, and now I am taking off the excess powder on her face before we apply the finish powder. So just use the brush to press in the setting powder into our skin. Don't just sweep it off, like use the brush to just press it into our skin. Okay, so now I'll go ahead to apply the finish powder, and I used Melanie powder as my finish powder here for our full face, but I didn't apply that under our eyes. Then for our under eyes, I went ahead to use Charlotte Tilbury powder in shade medium, and I pressed that under our eyes as my finish powder. So I'll just be applying the Charlotte Tilbury powder in the areas where I highlighted, which is under her eyes, her forehead, the bridge of her nose, her chin. So basically all the areas where I highlighted is where I'll be applying the Charlotte Tilbury powder. And I went ahead to spray the setting spray to melt all the products into our skin, and also to take off whitish powders, like just to melt them into our skin. And now I'm cleaning our lips to apply lip stain. So the first lip stain I use here is the Nuban lip stain in shade Peach. It's a very brown shade, and I know you guys will be saying, is that the only brown shade you have? Yes, this is the only brown shade that gives me exact brown shade. So it's just brown. Okay, so the red shade I have that looks like brown, but when I apply it, it doesn't give me this dark brown shade. It turns out to be maybe dark purple, or so for inside of our lip, I went in with the Eye Magic lip palette. It's been a long time I used this lip palette, and I took a pinkish nude shade in the Eye Magic palette, blended that into our lip. And to blend the in between the pink nude and the brown shade, I used the Ava Cosmetic lip stain in shade 22 to just blend in between the pink and the brown shade to give that ombre look. Then I went back to the inner corner of our lip and applied the pinkish nude shade just at the inner corner of our lip. For gloss, I'm using the Blossom gloss in shade Cutie. I just apply the gloss on the top of our lip. Who does makeup without gloss? How will your makeup look like? So guys, this is me extending the under eyelashes, to just give that beauty. And this is the final look, guys. So don't forget to like this video, share to your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you guys in my next video. Bye.